When lorry drivers feel under pressure, you can get these kind of antics. Careless driving, stupid driving, and reckless driving. Lorry accidents can be caused by problems with blind spots, driver error, or bad maintenance. But it's the accident waiting to happen, the sleepy driver, that I'm intrigued by. Most people have experienced that sense of when the lines on the road ahead blend into one, that zoned out feeling as tiredness creeps in. Government figures show just over 1% of HGV accidents involve fatigue. But when lorry drivers were questioned in a recent survey by the Loughborough Sleep Research Centre, astonishingly, 1 in 5 admitted to falling asleep at the wheel at some point. I'm curious to see for myself how drivers function when they're sleep deprived. I want to find out what happens to my body in that state and how it affects my concentration. So I've come to the Transport Research Centre here in Wokingham near Reading. Time for me to be their latest guinea pig. I'm going to do 2 driving tests in this truck simulator. One when I'm fully alert, and one after a night trying to live as a trucker. My brainwaves and body functions will be monitored to see how I cope physically.
I'm all wired up and ready to be tested on all kinds of different things, from my neck muscles to my brainwaves, and obviously trying to work out how fatigued I get by driving, or how a lack of sleep can really affect my driving. So we'll find out over the next couple of days. This is the first test. OK, Mark.
OK, Gethin, when you're ready, you can start the engine. Ready to move off?
Dr. Mark Chattington from the Transport Research Laboratory is monitoring my 40-minute test. Fully alert, I keep to the lanes and drive smoothly. But he knows that lorry drivers' sleep patterns can affect this.
Getting enough sleep and making sure that they're well rested is a particular problem for truck drivers. They don't have normal sleep patterns in the sense that we have. Some drivers have to drive quite a long distance, hang around for a couple of hours, pick up a load. That could be happening at 4 o'clock in the morning. They have to drive to the other end of the country, drop it off, and wait for another load. And their sleep pattern tends to be broken up because of it.
Many reasons, including fatigue, can turn drivers crazy. This driver ended up causing a multiple car crash. If you look carefully, it was an HGV driver that knocks into the car and sends it flying across the road. The simulator test has proved I can drive well under normal conditions. Now I'm going to spend a night at a truck stop. And tomorrow I'll be back to see how my night's sleep affects my driving. I'm lucky. I find a truck stop fully equipped with all mod cons.
Welcome to my hotel for the evening. Let me show you around. It might take a while, though. I'll tell you what, I'll start with a bed. This is where I'm going to be sleeping for the evening. And that's it. That's me showing you around my room for this evening.
Legally, drivers have to be off the road and resting a minimum of 9 hours before their next shift begins. Many start in the early hours when the traffic is lightest. I'm going to get up at 4 AM, so I park up at 7, have a bite to eat, and I'm in bed by 10.
Some of these guys, they do 4 or 5 weeks away from home at a time, living in this little cab. I'm definitely getting a taste for what it'd be like to be a trucker. Struggling a bit to get off to sleep. It's very quiet, apart from a few refrigerated lorries. Still got their power on. Nice to get some sleep for tomorrow.
It's still dark when I get up to start my shift.
Good morning. It's just after 4 AM. I eventually nodded off about midnight, I think. Didn't sleep too bad. But I've got a long drive ahead of me.
Typically, a driver would start the morning by collecting his load and would have a break after 4.5 hours of driving. I'm due at the lab for my next test on the lorry simulator. But before I go, I need to get my driving hours up on the lab's test track. After only 4 hours sleep, which isn't completely unusual for some lorry drivers, I go back on the road for 2.5 hours. Then back to the test centre, on with the octopus hat and back into the simulator. On my second 40-minute test, Mark Chattington is looking for telltale signs of me getting tired.
Gethin's having a little bit of trouble at this point. He's quite regularly crossing the white line and running onto the hard shoulder. Then he's gone on again.
Mark is looking for something in particular, something known as a microsleep.
Microsleep is technically a period of sleep. It's a brief period of inattention, so you're not fully asleep, but neither are you awake. You feel yourself beginning to nod off, but you can come back from it. You experience it for a couple of seconds, but your body wakes you back up again.
Then it comes. I start to get that highway hypnosis feeling.
You collided with a road user. The simulation has stopped.
It's crashed.
Didn't see that lorry behind me. I deviated into his lane by the looks of things.
I'm lucky. I'm in a simulator and not weaving around all over the open road like this lorry. Police caught up with him in the small hours of the morning heading south on the M1. After a close call with the lorry in front, the police decide to pull him over. Back at the lab, Mark shows me the video playback of my driving.
Oh my goodness! What am I doing? How long are my eyes closed for?
On quite a few occasions, they're very, very long blinks.
They don't feel that long though when you're driving. What you think is a blink of a fraction of a second is actually quite a few seconds.
Yes.
Oh.
It's quite shocking when you look at the video back and actually see what was happening.
That's terrible. I'm hardly on the road.
Yeah. So if you can imagine a car was parked up on the hard shoulder at that point, you're driving a half-laden tanker.
How many microsleeps did I have during that journey? Because I don't think I was asleep at all.
You experienced 7 microsleeps in total when we look back at the data.
So in total, how long was I asleep for?
If you add them all up, 18 seconds. For 18 seconds, I say you wouldn't have full control of the vehicle.
Oh my days.
And that's proved by that image, you almost fully on the hard shoulder and not correcting it straight away.
I am totally shocked with what you're telling me.
Now I understand why you're told to get out of your car if you break down on the hard shoulder. You never know what a lane-drifting driver might do. Last night I got 4 hours sleep, which is not uncommon for some lorry drivers. But research shows that losing just 1.5 hours of sleep can reduce alertness by 1/3, and I was only sleep deprived for 1 night. Some lorry drivers can be away from home for several weeks, potentially building up a severe amount of what's known as sleep debt.
If they don't get enough sleep in any 24-hour period, so you miss 2 hours sleep in any day, that tends to build up over time.
So it adds up during the week. So if you lose 2 hours one day, 3 hours the next day, that's quite a lot by the time you got to the end of the week.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to catch up on your sleep, so to speak. So there's no way of missing that sleep out. At some point, you will have to make up that debt.
We showed our footage to one of the world's leading sleep experts, Professor Jim Horn from the Loughborough Sleep Research Centre, who says, incredibly, my limited 4 hours sleep is perfectly within the law.
The issue really is, although legally within a 24-hour period, they have to have at least 9, usually 11 hours rest, continuous rest. There's no stipulation that this rest has to be actually sleep itself. So rest, even though it might be 11 hours, is no substitute for sleep, particularly if it's a very noisy and cold cab environment.
And Professor Horn had a shocking comparison about the state of my driving.
This film showed someone who's had only 4 hours sleep a night, which is not unusual, and driving a few hours later, is at a level of impaired driving which is greater than if they were over the legal alcohol limit. If you don't decide to stop when you're sleepy, you're driving a 40-ton truck at 60 miles an hour and you hit something stationary, like a car, the outcome is far worse and twice as likely to result in death and serious injury.
Get caught under a lorry this size and the consequences could be lethal. Here it's thanks to the car driver's quick reactions that an accident is avoided.